Said, my name is Elizabeth Roldan. I'm here from IMAC Insurance. We are your insurance broker here at Clifton Public Schools. We're very excited to once again be with you for open enrollment. Your open enrollment period begins today, May 6th, and runs through Thursday, May 23rd. I know the district is closed for the Memorial Day holiday weekend. So if that is one takeaway that you leave with today, is that please make sure that if you are going to make any plan changes, or if you will be adding or removing any dependents and or spouses, that you submit all of those changes by that Thursday, May 23rd. IMAC Insurance is the broker for the district's health benefits. We are also your insurance advocate. So I know that from time to time we deal with many of you with regards to any claim questions that you're having an issue with, if a claim isn't being processed correctly, or if you're having trouble getting a pre-authorization for a service, or any other matters related to your health benefits, please reach out to our office. You can call us at 973-450-9800. You can also send us an email at info@imacagency.com, and we will get back to you. I know Karen, specifically in our office, probably deals with many employees, and she is terrific at making sure that claim matters are resolved in a very timely fashion. Um, During this open enrollment opportunity, which is your annual opportunity to review your plan options, we really don't have any changes this year. You will have the same 5 plans that you had last year being offered. Of course, the educators and the Garden State Health Plan are only available, are the only 2 choices, I should say, excuse me, for anyone that was hired on or after July 1st of 2020. But for those of you hired prior to then, you do have the option of any of the 5 plans that are being offered. Something that I like to demystify and clarify during open enrollment is that if you were someone that was hired prior to July 1st of 2020 and you switch into the educator's plan this year and you want to switch back, let's say, to the open access managed choice plan next year, that's completely an option. There's a misconception out there that if you go into the educators or the Garden State Health Plan, that you're stuck in that. And what determines what plans you're allowed to go into is your date of hire. So again, if you're hired prior to July 1st of 2020, you can certainly go into any of the plans that are being offered. For those of you that do waive your benefits, please make sure that you complete this year's waiver form. We have an entire section on the portal right now called Open Enrollment 2024. And all of the waiver forms, depending on the union that you are a part of or a group that you're part of, you will see the waiver form there for your group that you also would need to complete if you are looking to waive your benefits for the 2024-2025 school year. During this open enrollment, as I mentioned, you do have 5 medical plans available. Again, based on your hire date, if you're hired prior to July 1st of 2020. And those plans obviously have not changed. We do have all the plan documents and benefit outlines on the portal currently. You can actually do a side-by-side comparison of any of the plans just to see how the benefits look compared to one another. We do like to highlight specifically the educators and the Garden State Health Plan as they are the newest plans. So just a couple of plan differences and similarities. The educators plan does utilize the same network of providers as in the open access managed choice plan. So if you are someone in the open access managed choice plan and you're considering the educators plan, from a network standpoint, that is not going to be a plan difference for you. You will have the ability to use the same in-network doctors under the open access managed choice plan, under the educators plan. If you are switching in between any of the other plans, there are network differences. We do have those instructions as to how to do a provider search on the portal. So I highly encourage you to do that. If you are someone who is considering the Garden State Health Plan, which I've spoken to a few members about that, the network of doctors that you can use really depends on the county in which you reside. So unless if you live in a county with the exception of Monmouth, Cape May, and Ocean, you will be using the Aetna Whole Health Network. But if you reside in those 3 counties, you are using the Savings Plus of NJ Open Access Managed Choice Network. And the big takeaway with as far as difference with the Garden State Health Plan and the Educators Plan is that the Garden State Health Plan only offers coverage in New Jersey. That's a big, big difference there in between those two plans that we like to highlight, especially in Clifton with the proximity to Manhattan and New York City and those providers and or hospitals there across the tunnel and the bridge. It's important to note that the Garden State Health Plan does not offer coverage outside of New Jersey. Also, if you have dependents that are away at college, that also poses an issue because there is no coverage unless it's a true medical emergency. But if you have a dependent child that is away at college and they need to go for a regular sick visit, let's say they have a cold, under the Garden State Health Plan, there is no coverage for that outside of New Jersey. So that's important to note. The Garden State Health Plan and the Educators Plan offer a significant savings compared to the other plans being offered. We do have a calculator on the portal, as I mentioned. You need Excel 2013 or later in order to utilize the calculator, but if you don't have access to Excel, certainly feel free to reach out to our office. We've actually been communicating with members, going over what their contributions would be under any of the plans. You'll just need to know what your salary is, as well as whether you're covering a family, single, two adults, parent, or child. But there is a guaranteed savings by switching into any of those two plans, just because of the way that they're calculated based on a percentage of salary rather than a percentage of premium. In the educators plan, this is something that comes up all the time. The plan does go up, but because it's calculated based on your salary, if your salary and who you're covering stays the same, your contributions stay the same. So that's another great feature of the educators plan. The Garden State and the Educators Plan both offer a $10 primary physician office visit copay, $15 if you visit a specialist, $125 if you go to the emergency room, although that copay is waived if you're admitted. You do have your Aetna gym reimbursement available under both the Garden State and the Educators Plan. But one of the big differences is the out-of-pocket costs if you visit out-of-network providers, as well as the prescription plan, which we will get into, as those are really the two major differences with the two plans. Another highlight is that the educators and the Garden State Health Plan, specifically out of network, have dollar limits on acupuncture, physical therapy, and chiropractic. So if you are going out of network, let's say to a chiropractor, they will be covering up to $35 for that visit, physical therapy up to $52 a visit, and acupuncture up to $60 a visit. Again, that's specific to those two plans and specifically out of network. So again, it's important to note one of the questions that we get all the time as well. My friends are telling me to go into this plan, the educators plan specifically, we hear a lot. And I think it's going to be great for me. The plans are not one size fits all, and it's important to understand how you specifically, you and your family, are utilizing the plan to make sure that it's going to work for you the way that you need it to. The last thing that we at IMAC want is someone to go into a plan and come July 1st, it's not covering what they were used to have it covered, and we want to make sure that you make an educated decision. The Garden State and the New Jersey Educators Health Plan utilizes a different table to reimburse those out-of-network providers. Currently, under your other plans, it utilizes Fair of Health, but under the Educators and the Garden State Health Plan, they utilize the Medicare table to determine what to reimburse those providers. That table is a lower reimbursement table than is used under the other plans. So if you're going out of network, specifically, we see it a lot with chiropractic or out of network mental health specialists that you're going to on a frequent basis, that poses an issue because you're going to get less money back on those claims. And those doctors can actually bill you for the difference between what Aetna is going to pay under those plans and what they're billing, and that's considered balance billing. So it's important that you note that there is a lesser reimbursement under those two plans out of network than currently offered under the other plans. And again, your utilization is important. You will have a savings, but again, if you're going on a weekly or even a twice a week basis to, let's say, a mental health specialist out of network, that's going to eat away at your savings if you go into the educators or the Garden State Health Plan. And we certainly would love to have these conversations with you one-on-one. We have these conversations all the time with members just to see how they utilize their plans, to see if they would work well in their specific situation. So, for example purposes, if you go to an out of network provider under the educators or the Garden State Health Plan, here in that green box, let's say that provider bills you $100. Aetna will be reviewing that claim and determining what they would have reimbursed had that provider been in network under what they consider usual, customary, and reasonable. And let's say they determine in that blue box that they would have that service should have been billed at $50. Aetna will be paying their 70% of coinsurance, which is $35 in this orange box. You, as the member, would be responsible for your $15 or 30% of coinsurance, but that other $50, that's part of that still $100 total, that would be due by you as the member, and that is what is known as balance billing. We like to use this small hypothetical example just to showcase how that kind of would look. But if you're going out of network, it's usually to a specialist. They tend to be more higher claim dollars, especially if you're going out of network, let's say for a major service such as an MRI or a surgery. It's important to note how that functions out of network. And again, we can certainly have these conversations one-on-one with you. The other component that we would like to highlight as far as differences is the prescription. If you choose to go into the educator's plan, not only is that a change for you on the medical plan, it's also a change on the prescription plan. So the prescription plan under the educators and the Garden State Health Plan does function differently. It has a smaller list of drugs that are available. Not to say that there aren't drugs for every condition, but they do limit the amount of drugs that are covered. They also have a mandatory generics requirement. So even if your doctor writes brand, if there is a lower cost generic option available, that is what's going to be dispensed. That's important to note because, like I mentioned, the out of network being a difference, the prescription is also a difference. So maybe you don't have a problem staying in network, but maybe you and or someone on your family plan utilizes a specific drug that for whatever reason you want to continue with that, you can't switch to a lower cost generic option. That would also be a red flag for you to think about before switching into either the educators or the Garden State Health Plan. Um, like I said, there will always be a drug to cover every single condition. It may not be the drug that you're used to. So, for example, I know that Crestor, which is a brand name drug for cholesterol, Crestor, as the brand, is not covered by the plan. It is a completely excluded drug. But atorvastatin, which is a generic for that drug, is a $5 copay under the Educators and the Garden State Health Plan that is covered. So again, it's something that I like to highlight. I also like to mention we do have a list of the 2024 drugs that are currently covered, but that list is always subject to change. As new drugs come onto the market that the FDA approves, that changes the formulary list. So if a lower cost generic drug comes out, for example, with Ozempic, which is a covered drug currently, if a generic were to come out for Ozempic would not be covered and that generic drug would be. So again, things can change while you're in the plan, so that's important to note. But again, as I've talked to members throughout the last week or so, just note that if you're making a plan change, you're committing to at most for a year. You can always switch back next year. Again, it's all based on your date of hire. We were supposed to have the representative from AFLAC, but unfortunately they could not jump on the call. So I'll just briefly go over during your open enrollment for your health benefits. You also have the AFLAC open enrollment happening simultaneously. They do have a link that you can actually click on and make an appointment to go over if you're looking to enroll for the first time or if you're looking to make any changes to your current elections. That link we do have on the benefits portal as well, but you can also reach out via email directly to the representative. His name is Joshua Sanders, or you can call him directly here at 973-934-2235. The open enrollment for AFLAC also ends on Thursday, May 23rd, so it's important to note that. But AFLAC is offering a few very nice plan options. They're offering a short-term disability plan, a hospital plan, critical illness, accident, and those are the options that are available. If you have any questions about them, certainly you can reach out to us, but ideally you should be reaching out directly to the AFLAC representative. You can also, once you actually are in the plans, you can file a claim directly on AFLAC's website. I know that they process the claims pretty quickly and it's pretty straightforward. So it's great ancillary voluntary coverage to have. But again, that open enrollment period begins today, running through Thursday, May 23rd. So next steps, if you are not waiving your coverage and you're looking to stay in the plan that you have, there's no action required on your behalf. If you are looking to make a plan change, certainly you would need to complete the applicable enrollment forms. So if you're switching into the educator's plan, for example, you would complete a form for medical as well as a form for Benecard for the prescription. So those two forms would need to go to the email address here, benefitenrollment@cliftonschools.net. If you are waiving your coverage, again, in order to get those waiver monies, please make sure that you're completing the appropriate form. They're all located on the portal, and I believe Chris also emailed them out. But on the IMAC benefits portal, you can certainly go ahead and evaluate all the different plan options, comparing them side by side, as well as utilizing the calculator to determine your contributions per pay. We do have the doc find instructions on there, so you can search for doctors and or hospitals under the plan that you're looking to switch into. And remember, you are making a plan election for the 2024-2025 year. You'd be eligible to switch plans again during next open enrollment, which would be May of 2025. And again, that deadline for either your enrollment forms and your waiver forms is Thursday, May 23rd. And again, to the benefit enrollment at cliftonschools.net email address, and preferably from your Clifton Schools email address. Sometimes if you're emailing from your personal address, it may get stuck in spam. So please email that address from your school address. And again, just to highlight the IMAC benefits portal, that's imacbenefits.com. And once you arrive at the website, you would type in Clifton BOE as displayed on the screen. And that will have everything and anything related to your benefits. And like I said, we do have an open enrollment 2024 section available. This is kind of a screenshot of what the portal looks like. Again, all your plan and rate information, your open enrollment information, forms, and we have a ton of other great links on there for FSA. Your AFAC plans are also located on there, and all the other carrier links, as well as the monthly newsletter. And these are the doc find instructions, as I mentioned. Aetna unfortunately makes it a little complicated to search out for your plans. So it's important that you're following the instructions exactly as laid out here. So for example, if you were looking for providers under the educator's plan, you would click under the category of Aetna Open Access Plans, and the plan name would be Managed Choice POS Open Access. I apologize that they make it a little cumbersome, but I just want to make sure that everybody understands how to do that search in order to get the right information, because you want to make sure that your providers are a network. And again, this is a screenshot of what the calculator looks like. You do have to have Excel 2013 or later in order to utilize it. But again, if you're looking for the educators and the Garden State Health Plan, you'd be clicking here, and all the other plans here in green. And just as a reminder, during open enrollment, you do have the option to make any and all changes, but we understand that life happens outside of open enrollment. So just as a refresher, you do have 30 days in order to make any plan changes, whether you get married, if you get divorced, if God forbid there's a death, or if you lose your other coverage if you're currently waiving. In the case of a newborn dependent, per a New Jersey state mandate, you do have 60 days in order to add that newborn dependent to your benefits. But if you fail to make your changes outside of the deadlines here, unfortunately, you would have to wait until the following open enrollment. And just as a reminder, your open enrollment takes place in May, but your changes are effective July 1st. Also, during open enrollment, we like to just remind anyone who has dependent children on their plan, dependent children on their plans, that Your dependent children are covered until the end of the calendar month in which they turn 26 for medical and prescription, and for dental until the end of the calendar year in which they turn 23. Upon termination, that child will have the following coverages available under Aetna. They will be offered COBRA. If they meet certain criteria, they would be eligible for what's called Chapter 375 or dependents under 31. And if you do have a dependent that has special needs, there is coverage continuation for overage dependent with disabilities. We do have both of these pieces of information on the portal as well for Chapter 375 and for children with special needs as far as continuation of that coverage. For those that have dependents that are not special needs that are aging out, if that dependent is under the age of 31, has no dependents of their own, if they're unmarried and have no dependents of their own, and live in New Jersey or are a full-time student at a public or private college or university and are not entitled to any other coverage, they would have the ability to enroll in Chapter 375 or Dependent 31. We like to mention it during open enrollment because it is less expensive than Cobra. But again, it's only available for medical and prescription, not for any dental and or vision benefits. And we do have information about this on the portal as well. Everyone who is an Aetna member does have the ability to participate in the Aetna Fitness Benefit Reward or gym reimbursement. Again, you would have to go to the gym at least 12 times a month, and you can get a $20 a month reimbursement towards your gym membership. With that said, that really brings us to the end of our presentation. I did not see any questions in the chat. If anyone has any questions, feel free to put them in now. But again, your biggest takeaways today are that Thursday, May 23rd deadline for open enrollment to make sure that you get your changes and or your waiver forms in. Certainly feel free to reach out to our office. Like I said, we've been fielding a lot of calls and emails from members with questions about the educators plan and any of the other plans. But with that said, I appreciate everyone's time today. We are going to be sharing the recording of this webinar as soon as it's ready. We'll post it on the portal, and I know that um, it will be emailed to the entire district for those that could not join live. I do see someone typing in a question, so I'll wait until their question comes through just to make sure that we get to everybody. Someone is asking if I am adding a member, should I fill a form for Delta Dental? Yes. If you're adding a complete new dependent, definitely you would be completing all three forms. Aetna for medical, Benecard for prescription, Delta Dental form for dental. It's only if you're making a plan change, because again, dental wouldn't be impacted by that, that you would only be filling out medical for, Aetna and Benecard for prescription. But like I said, if you think of anything, feel free to reach out to us. We are very much available to help everyone out to make sure that you get all the information that you need before the open enrollment deadline. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.